Hey everybody, welcome back to another Cinefix Now Roundtable. Today we're going to be talking about Aquaman scripts, life after blockbusters in the summer, Veronica Mars, a whole bunch of other stuff. But first, I want to talk about The Edge of Tomorrow and how they're labeling this DVD. Apparently what they're doing is they're trying to make us all forget that they called the movie Edge of Tomorrow.
Because it was stupid.
Which is...
It was a stupid title in the first place.
It's a completely meaningless title.
Right.
And it's, as someone in the office earlier this year pointed out, it's just so metaphorically similar to the other future Tom Cruise movie, Oblivion.
So are we talking about an actual title change or just they're just branding the Blu-ray?
It's more of a branding thing. They didn't officially change the title of the movie because the DVD cover says like "Live, Die, Repeat," and it's like Edge of Tomorrow.
It says Blunt Cruise Edge of... Even the spine, though, says Live, Die, Repeat / Edge of Tomorrow.
Right.
See, that would be weird
That's
to
a
me.
very strong title, Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
I love it. Like,
I
well,
like
in
that a lot.
the
Yeah, I
upsetting
would have
thing
gone and
is-
saw that movie. I didn't go
Yeah.
to see the boring title movie.
And that's the upsetting thing because the movie was worth going to see. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem I have is, it's one of those movies that got such good word of mouth. It was the first time all year when I would tell people, no, it was really good. And they go, really? Like every person said that. And
It
so I
was-
think it's going to have good life after theaters.
Yeah.
And so they shouldn't change the title now when people might actually be willing to see it.
Okay.
It'll be really
well,
interesting
Why
how-
don't, if they're gonna retitle it, why don't they just call it All You Need Is Kill?
I don't know. That's the other weird thing about
That's
this.
a way better title than either one of those.
really cool
and it's the title of the book.
They need to retain whatever brand recognition they did manage to get out of the release and the reviews. So I think they have to keep Edge of Tomorrow in there. And Live, Die, Repeat was such a tagline for it that they've got to keep that too. It looks like iTunes even has it officially titled Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. That was going to be my next question. Is I'm curious to see what iTunes or what like Netflix and things like that'll do because like when you're, the way you browse isn't by the cover title, so or what the cover looks like.
Well, it's a good movie either way. People should see it. Even if you don't like Tom Cruise. I don't even like Tom Cruise anymore, and I thought he was great in it. So
Yeah, I mean, and it's an interesting thing. Like they got some shit for the title when the movie came out, and so they're trying to fix it. So good for them, right?
It kind of shows how powerful marketing is on some of these things and how like naming and branding and the posters and everything go into how well a movie does.
It's an easy thing to forget too, because a lot of that stuff, like we just don't think about that anymore. Like there's oh, it was a bad trailer, oh, that's a cool trailer, but that's really it.
The question is, what do you type into your little Netflix thing when you're doing it on your TV?
I don't
Can't
know.
find the movie.
Well,
everyone should see it.
everyone should see it.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
thought that
yeah,
was
it's
an
a good
interesting little tidbit that just happened because that it was a stupid title and it got a lot of flack about the title, and so now the title's different, which I think is
Cool.
good for them. So moving right along after we pat, who was that, Paramount on the back?
Paramount.
I'm just assuming it's Tom Cruise.
Warner,
Warner
no,
Brothers?
It's Warner Brothers.
I don't know. Look,
Yeah, no.
whoever. Hopefully it's Warner Brothers because that makes this an easier segue into the DC world. They've finally made official the most unofficial official thing that ever was. Jason Momoa is going to be Aquaman.
Can you believe it? Who would have guessed?
Can he swim?
I hope so. He's going to be in a tank for at least one act of the movie. But they're already going to go with a standalone Aquaman movie, and they've got two competing scripts.
Yeah, they got two writers. One's named Will Beall. The other is Kurt Johnston. Will wrote Gangster Squad, which did anyone here watch that? Because I
Bad.
didn't.
So bad.
Or Kurt, who wrote the classic 300 and 300 Rise of the Empire.
Zack Snyder's boy.
Yeah, I saw Rise of the Empire this weekend. And it is a cluster of a movie. it is the weirdest thing I've seen in a long time. There's one scene where Eva Green cuts a dude's head off and then makes out with his head.
I think what this is really telling of is this sort of disparity between how Marvel is succeeding and how DC is just keeps hitting roadblocks, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just like, all right, we want to be successful too, like that. But it's like, okay, you should probably just kept running with the Dark Knight stuff then, maybe. But Marvel, like they will give a storyteller money and like free reign and just enough guidance so that it all fits together in their big puzzle, right?
Except for Ant-Man.
Except for Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Which is a whole other thing.
Well, that's the exception that ruins my argument.
we'll wait and see Were you in the boardroom meetings when they disagreed?
If I did, I'd be making way too much money to be here.
That's my point. Is like they have successfully given storytellers a platform to tell stories, whereas DC has been successfully giving music video directors a platform to blow up huge buildings. They're not telling the stories. Man of Steel didn't tell a story. It just blew a bunch of shit up. Yeah, okay, Edgar Wright, we can say, oh, well, there was a lot of conflict, but they didn't force it out of them. Right? They didn't force him to tell another story.
Again, though, since we don't officially know what happened,
Also, you
like
don't
the
know.
company line was it was an amicable split and all that stuff.
Right.
I don't. So it's hard to tell if we can hold that against Marvel or not. So like, who knows?
But it seems
That's
like
a
DC
null
is
point.
trying
That's
to
a null
avoid
point.
that by generating 2 scripts at once, so that they don't have like we get down the road with one and we're like, this really isn't working. Which,
Right.
first of
But
all,
then
they
what is
won't
the- what
acknowledge
is
that
this
it's not
then?
working.
It's like,
Well,
well,
but-
let's just get a pit of writers, throw them in a pit, and then like have them just churn out scripts.
Mark,
and then
that's
we'll see
exactly
which
what
one-
they're
That's
doing.
exactly
We
what
talked
they're doing.
we talked a
Right.
lot last week about how many goddamn movies they have to make over the next 5 years. They don't have
Yeah.
time to get down the road with one and then have to rewrite it. Like they don't. So it's
they're
like
they're
just
digging
doing 2 at a
themselves in
time.
this hole,
It
and
wouldn't
it's-
surprise me if this becomes the norm.
More than I'm a
Yes.
fan of comic book movies and these big blockbusters that are just making these crazy visual masterpieces, I'm a fan of storytellers. I'm a fan of filmmakers, film.
Yeah,
Whereas,
Mark's
you
a
know,
fan
you
of
get
somebody who's
Zack Snyder going at it with this sort of hodgepodge script of bizarre action scenes, and you end up with Man of Steel. And like, who here actually likes it?
I love Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. Superman is so cool in that
Like,
movie.
it was rad to watch him smash buildings, but
Yes.
like, that's about it. It ends up being like, oh, it's pretty rad to watch Raphael punch a guy.
We've
That's
been.
about it.
You have not seen the new Ninja
Hang on a
Turtles, so you
second.
can't make that claim.
We've
It's
been
not
in,
bad.
and we'll annotate to it right here, but right here, because we have done a roundtable before where you said literally the only thing that we need out of superhero movies is rad
Right.
building punches.
That's all you need.
We have you on camera saying that.
And that's all you
Because I
need.
remember because I
But
stormed
that
out of the
was
room
the
shortly
full
after
on-
that.
was- to be completely fair, this is exactly what they do on any big $200 million movie. They get a bunch of writers, they write, and then they...
Yeah, but not at the same time. Never like they'll
Yeah,
go
we're
through and they'll
competing,
drive it
like
and they'll
they're-
keep
like
bringing
they're
people in to work on the
gladiators.
script. I would rather,
Competing it out.
as a writer, I would rather just like, hey, I'm competing against this other guy. Like, I want mine to be made. I'm gonna work harder on this versus like, you know what? I'm gonna bang this thing out, collect my paycheck because I know that there's gonna be 4 other writers after me who's gonna come in and all over my characters.
I think this is indicative of the fact that it's a real risk they're taking with Aquaman. I mean, what I love about this right now is like you're like, oh, Marvel, DC, whatever. The fact that no one's like, I can't believe they're making an Aquaman movie. That's so dumb. We're all already on board. We're all on board. They're making an Aquaman movie, no big deal. But it's like this guy wrote Gangster Squad. I'm not sure about him, or like the way that they're doing it. I love that. I love that 2 years ago, Aquaman was the biggest punchline of all punchlines, and now we have no problem with that.
Fighting-
Now it's
fighting
like,
to the death.
but
You
is
can
this
write
guy a
script
good
for
enough
it.
writer to write Aquaman?
Does he
Really?
get what makes Aquaman tick?
And that's not even what I'm worried about. I think this will beget a terrible script.
But what if
Because you
this
get 2
is-
people competing for it, and then you get some executives that will
What if
cherry
this is
pick
DC's
but, like,
attempt
no, no,
to
no, no.
find
and pick out the
Jared
best
Leto
fight
ways?
scene.
I think this is different because you're getting 2 writers and they will both have a singular vision to develop this script. If they don't bring 4 other writers in down the thing, like you might actually get 2 really good scripts for Aquaman
Yeah,
because there aren't 5 people in there like pulling it and pushing it
But
back.
is that what's going on, or is this just?
Well, we don't know.
don't
Were
know.
you in the boardroom when they made the decision? How are you gonna know?
No, this seems to me
Fair
like
point.
like an attempt because Aquaman, to people outside of the the people in this room sort of people, is still a bit of a like, wait, what's his power again? He talks to fish.
there's a lot of
this,
legwork to
This
introduce
feels like an
Aquaman.
attempt to find the voice that will make Aquaman make sense and make it be the movie that the Guardians was, where
look-
like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I like this. I thought it was going to be stupid.
And look, I really don't mind this at all. I mean, honestly, if we're going to survive for the next 5 years. All of these like enormous tentpole comic book movies, like they need to be good. So if it takes like let's get two people writing two different takes on the character or two different like it wouldn't surprise me if one guy was if they can't decide what kind of Aquaman they want to have and they're like you go write that one, you go write this one. If that's what it takes to get a good product out there, like do it. And again, like they just don't have time for development. Like they need to. They need
with
to fast
Batman
track.
vs Superman if they suddenly get an ability to tell a story and make a character that I actually give a
Jeez,
shit
dude.
about.
All of this sounds like you're more angry at Zack Snyder.
Great Batman movies that were done like less than 10 years ago, and you're
Yeah,
like, DC
but-
can't make a good movie. It's impossible. The Dark
That
Knight
was a
might be the
different
best superhero movie
production
ever
team,
made,
you know?
but
You know,
screw
like-
them. Warner Brothers doesn't know what they're doing.
Okay, so that's plenty of
Argument.
Aquaman irateness to last us for a little while. So moving on to the next thing we want to talk about is they announced yet another Veronica Mars project that's going to be coming out. Didn't even have to crowdfund it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CW Seed, right, which is going to be their big sort of digital platform for shows. I think it's going to be great. I mean, it's starring Dick, right? Dick Casablancas.
Yeah, it's called Play It Again, Dick. Right?
Everybody's favorite Veronica Mars character that just won't go away.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing that they're doing is it's going to be like super meta, right? It's
Yes.
like it's
So
the actor
weird.
who plays Dick Casablancas is like in the context of the
Producing.
show is like producing his own web series where so Kristen Bell will be playing Kristen Bell playing Veronica Mars.
Yeah.
So there's like we're one level deep.
Well, what's
Oh, that's
interesting
really
is,
cool.
that cast is comprised of some people that work regularly and other people don't work at all. So it'll be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, we see Jason Doreen in it quite a bit, or like Enrico Colantoni. But like, I know that Tina Margarino is on like a show right now for TNT, and so it'll be really interesting to see, how many people they can get in it.
I do think it's interesting though that like and maybe to your point about we'll see who they can actually get in it. Like this is a good way to do something where they can't necessarily get the whole cast back. So they put this weird meta twist on it, and it becomes a different thing altogether.
If he's playing himself trying to escape Veronica Mars, does that mean that we're also going to jump into Party Down and bring that? I'm done. That's too much.
It's honest, that's part of the deal. Is apparently the tone is more in line with Party Down.
A lot of these guys all work together already, like digitally. Like Ken Marino did Burning Love, and Ryan Hansen was in the second season of Burning Love, or the first season of Burning Love. I can't remember. No, second season. And so a lot of these guys are like all in the same stuff anyway. So it sort of makes sense that they're doing this.
They're all real chummy.
Yeah.
And
I was
that's
gonna say,
what
they
I'm
just wanna hang
excited
out with
about.
each
Yeah,
other.
yeah. Is they all just seem like they want to hang out,
Yeah.
and that's why they're doing this, which
mean, I'd
is
hang out
kind of
with
fun. I'm glad that they're doing this like weirdo meta kind of version of it, so it's not just another Veronica Mars story. It's,
Well, and honestly, I don't think I'd watch just a Dick Casablancas show, like,
Yeah.
because that was the point of his character. He was definitely a sort of small doses character.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was awesome. But like, you did not want to watch the Dick Casablancas episode of Veronica Mars. And honestly, when I saw the movie and he popped up, and I'm like, Dick's still here.
Dick's still here, everybody.
Same guy doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
10 years later, Dick's still here.
I mean, maybe this will open the door too for some more of these, shows that just won't die, for better or worse. Community, Cheers, yeah, Cheers. They just keep making more
Frasier
Cheers
does need
shows.
more money.
Looking at you, Golden Girls.
Yeah, if Frasier is down to being in the Expendables movies, he needs some work, I think. So maybe we can bring that up.
And the villain in
But maybe,
Transformers 4.
but maybe this will open the door for people to get sort of creative about how they bring some of these characters back.
Kelsey Grammer's had a big year, okay? He was a villain in Transformers 4. He did a cameo in X-Men Days of Future Past, and he's in the Expendables.
And then now he's working with Martin Lawrence.
Oh.
So he'll be in
In Bad Boys 3. Exactly.
Okay, you know what? Let's talk about Bad Boys 3 real quick. Let's just transition to that, but we're only going to spend a second.
We gotta find the biggest highway possible, and there's just gonna be shit falling on it. Okay.
That's it.
I hope
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
I hope this doesn't get in the way of Michael Bay's planned elephant poaching documentary that he's planning.
Where he poaches all the elephants?
blows them up.
I will say this about the only reason that we're talking about this is because Martin Lawrence just mentioned it on, what was it, on Conan the other night? That he's like, oh yeah, it's happening. I talked to Jerry Bruckheimer the other day, it's happening. No, it's not. Like, whether or
No,
not
Mark's already written the script. It's
whether or
fine.
not
Got it done,
it actually
man.
has a chance to ever happen, hearing it from Martin Lawrence is like, there's like, if Martin Lawrence says Bad Boys 3, I would take the Cookie Monster more seriously if he said Bad Boys 3 was happening. I mean,
Why are you calling Martin Lawrence a liar?
I don't think he's a liar. I just think he really wants to be a movie star again, and I can't blame him for that. But like, as soon as, if Martin Lawrence is the only word we have that it's happening, like, I don't.
Well, look, they were saying that Will Smith was kind of the roadblock to doing that. Obviously, you have to get both of them back, but Will Smith has not had a great year.
Which I think is another reason why it's probably not
Will
gonna
Smith could easily be down to suddenly like, yeah, I'll be in a movie that features me again.
I feel like 3 years ago I was like, Will Smith is the only blockbuster star right now, and I haven't seen him in like over a year.
Hang on a second. I opened the door to Bad Boys 3, and I really shouldn't have, because honestly, I would love
It's
to
a
see it. I
Pandora's
really
box.
don't think it's going to happen. But I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Because of, obviously, Bad Boys 2 and the boat on the chain behind the car.
swinging around, knocking cars around.
Totally
That's
cool.
inspired.
Yeah.
You know what I'd compare that to? That moment
Nobody
right
else
before
does
the
that shit.
Renaissance when they realized perspective. And they were like,
Like, oh my
Wow.
God, we gotta just draw Jesus like this.
Okay, so I'm officially putting it into this conversation now that we're comparing
So was there anything?
Michael Bay to Renaissance
Bay
painters.
is basically Michelangelo.
Really the Caravaggio of his
I heard
time.
what you said.
None of that's gonna make the cut.
So, blockbuster season is over. You know, now that we're clear of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know, and then we've got the winter, the fall and winter blockbuster. There's Hobbit and there's Hunger Games, and we've got some smaller fare to look forward to the rest of the year. So let's just go around the table. What are we looking forward to?
smaller fare, light bites.
Like,
It's like appetizers.
yes, the amuse bouche for award season. I don't know. Mark, what are you looking forward to?
Well, it's just come out, so this is it's a limited release right now. But I'm looking forward to Cavalry.
So you're looking forward to Cavalry being in more theaters than it's
In more theaters and actually being able to watch it. I want to see this movie.
Okay.
It's John Michael McDonough, Martin McDonough's brother. So that I'm really curious to see if crazy runs in the family. And it's Brendan Gleeson playing a priest, which of course he's going to play priest. Right?
Yeah, and Chris O'Dowd is in it too. It's got a pretty good cast.
And it's just like
No.
No.
it's weird. It's dark.
Well, it opens, as I understand it opens with a priest taking somebody's confession, and they tell him that the guy tells the priest that he's going to kill him.
But Martin McDonagh's brilliant, right? He's a brilliant playwright. Sometimes it translates to film.
But this is his
And
brother.
This is his brother, who's obviously
Near Martin during holidays?
similar backgrounds, so it's going to be interesting
Yeah.
because like
Some
Martin
DNA
McDonagh,
at the end
writes
comic.
psychopaths really well.
Yeah.
Obviously, their family is full of them if you're writing them that well. The other one that
No, you only get one.
is-
You only get one,
Okay,
it's
I
fine.
only get one.
All right, well, if I only
really interesting. I'm
Yeah,
excited for
really
that.
interesting.
you know, there's a bunch I'm excited for, but if I only get one, I think it's Foxcatcher. I think that's going to be an amazing movie. It's going to be Steve Carell as like John DuPont, who's a very famous, infamous, crazy person, a very rich, famous person. And I think it's going to be the movie that, you know, next year we're all going to be shocked Steve Carell won the Academy Award for Best Actor, because he will win the Academy Award for Best
He
Actor.
was really, really, really good in The Way, Way Back.
Exactly.
He's a
great actor.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know it yet.
Well, he was a great asshole in The Way, Way Back.
Yeah.
He was really good.
I can also see, you know, who knows, even Channing Tatum might be nominated, but it's got basically Steve Carell is playing John DuPont, who is a crazy person, heir to the DuPont franchise, the
Fake nose
DuPont,
and
like,
everything, too.
yeah,
He looks kinda
exactly.
weird, yeah.
And
Fake nose.
he was totally crazy, and he was obsessed with wrestling, you know, and so basically he takes on and is the coach of this guy who's an Olympic wrestler. It's played by Channing Tatum. It's a true story. Mark Ruffalo played another ex-champion wrestler that is Ruffalo's brother, and it sort of is this kind of crazy relationship and this downfall of John DuPont. And you know, I remember hearing about the story years ago and what happened with John DuPont and how nuts he was. And you know, I'm not going to get into it, but spoiler alert, involves a tank.
Playing a real person with a fake nose in a drama when you're typically a comedian, like, how is he not going to win the Academy?
Yeah. He's totally going to win. I mean,
Plus, you just promised us a tank.
Yeah.
there should be a tank. Unless I got my stories mixed up, there should be a tank. And other than that, Horns is going to be cool.
No, you only get one. You only get one. I agree. Horns is going to be cool, but you only get one. You had your chance. Mackenzie, what are you looking forward to?
I just saw the trailer for Big Eyes. It's Tim Burton's new movie starring Amy Adams, Christoph Waltz, Kristen Ritter, and Jason Schwartzman, who I love. Margaret Keane, who is that artist who did those paintings with the like giant eyes.
Yeah.
They're super creepy. Apparently, she was married to this guy who was like, hey, nobody's going to buy your art if it's painted by a woman, so we're going to say that everything was painted by me. They get a divorce, and then he's like, oh, I own all of this work because the public thinks that I own it.
Oh, what a dick.
Yeah, so then apparently, spoiler, but not really. So apparently there's like a paint off in court, and it looks charming and cute, 1950s and period PC.
A
and
paint off.
a paint off.
I'm in.
I'm
I'm in for
in.
tanks and I'm in for paint offs.
Yeah.
Now, I'm no big city lawyer, but those eyes certainly look large to me.
I might just be a simple country barrister.
I think that's gonna be a reoccurring theme because they just hired the girl from Game of Thrones to play Mary Shelley. Of course, famously wrote Frankenstein, but her husband was the name on it because they didn't think anyone would buy a book from a woman at that time. So it's interesting. We're starting to see these themes come out.
I am looking forward to the Zero Theorem. Terry Gilliam's new movie comes out. Finally, it's been done and it's been in the can for a while. It's finally coming out later this month. Not later this month, in September, I think it's going out. But Christoph Waltz plays a mathematician and it's sort of like this weird dystopian corporate future, very, very Brazil-ish. Terry Gilliam. And the trailers, it's kind of hard to tell what it's really about in the trailers, but it seems like he's trying to create a mathematical theorem that proves everything is meaningless. Is essentially what it boils down to. Terry Gilliam, and Christoph Waltz will just be gradually going insane and gradually sort of finding himself along the way, and I think it's going to be great. It's been a while since Terry Gilliam did anything.
What was the last movie he made?
He did was it Dr. Parnassus?
Oh God, the one
Imaginarium.
where Heath Ledger got pneumonia on it.
And he's finally reworking his Don Quixote, although it's completely different from Man. But I only get one, so Christina, what are we looking forward to?
Oh, you cut yourself
I have to be fair. I'll cut myself off.
Moderation
Yeah.
Christina, it's not the Maze Runner, is it? Is it the Maze Runner, Christina? Because that doesn't count.
Wow.
I feel like you're being mean for some reason.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay,
Is it the maze?
I just want to make sure.
I'm really
Now she's all flustered.
She explained to me the Maze Runner. I didn't know what it was.
I had a whole segue prepared.
Oh, wait, what was the last thing I said?
Yeah,
then?
you
What
were
did
like
say
the
again?
zero theorem, and I'm like, speaking of math.
Great.
Still works.
Still, I'm right there with it.
I'm really looking forward to the Imitation Game, which is about Alan Turing and trying to crack the Enigma code back in World War II, and it just looks fascinating. That it's got the spy drama, it's got math being dramatic on screen.
It's got Khan. It's
No,
gonna be great.
I love
It's Sherlock.
Smaug. Who is he now?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, okay.
So that enough said with that. But,
Excuse me, sorry.
But he, it just looks. I liked A Beautiful Mind way more than I think I otherwise would, just because it had this like sort of walking between genius and normal people and trying to explore what constitutes a genius mind. And I feel like this will have a very similar. It'll have that to it, but it also has all these other great political things going on because of the Nazis and.
Just the title alone and knowing it's about Alan Turing is just like, it just screams brilliance. Because you got this guy who's the whole time they're constantly invested. I haven't seen the play, so I might be giving spoilers. This is just history. He's working on the most important piece of technology at the time. He's under constant surveillance by every single allied power intelligence agency, and his biggest, darkest secret is something that can lead to his death, but not because it's a war crime.
Because he's gay. Yeah.
And
it's a lot of interesting
it's
stuff going on.
just,
So that's
like,
a good
I think
one,
it'll
Christina.
Also open people's eyes that we are not that far out on homosexual rights
And that gay people are good at math, and that's why we need
Let
that.
us not forget.
Yeah.
Let us not forget how good at math.
Yeah.
But, and also it's one of my childhood heroes.
There you go.
Well, wait. You're going back. You only get one.
Yeah, I
You're-
kind of feel like
hang on.
you're stealing.
You tied it back into you. You only get one. You already got yours.
No, Mark was just way more articulate about why you should see
That's
this freaking movie
look.
when it
It's
comes
totally.
out.
Don't defend him. He's, truly, what do you got?
I gotta say, I'm really excited for Alejandro Inarritu's Birdman. I was a little disappointed at first because it was not the Harvey Birdman movie that I was expecting.
I know, right?
But then I got real excited because obviously it's very meta. Michael Keaton is sort of playing this like aged ex-superhero from the screen. I think. Look, the trailers go several ways. I can't decide if it's going to be really funny or like really. What's the word I'm looking for? Despondent? Not despondent.
Just crippled.
I don't know. Right now, I can't tell what kind of movie it's going to be, and that makes me real excited.
It looks like it's going to be like just sad and funny and disturbing all in equal measure.
Look, I love a movie where like a dude runs around in like his underwear, like whitey tighties through like a lot of
He's like power walking
Yeah.
through Times Square in
Yeah.
his tidy whities is what it looks like.
It's got a great cast. Like I'm really excited.
Yeah, Galifianakis is in it. And Amy Ryan
Edward
is in it.
Norton.
Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Look, I'm really proud of us for not just saying Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Is
next
that
May.
coming
It's
out
the
this
next-
fall?
No, that's next May. But there are
Netflix
things
now.
coming out this fall that are going to be good.
Big Hero 6.
Also, that's going to be
That's
good.
too big. That doesn't-
Any other honorable mentions? I know I only
Box
gave everybody
Trolls.
one. Box Trolls.
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl.
Theory of Everything, because
Theory
I
of
like
Everything's gonna be
geniuses.
good.
Into the woods.
Well, let us know what you think about all of this stuff. How angry are you about Aquaman? How angry are you at Mark for being angry at Aquaman? Veronica Mars we talked about. What movies are you looking forward to this fall? Let us know all that stuff down in the comments below and come back next time for more movie news on Cinefix Now. That's it. Just you only got one. And you tried to get 3. You tried to sneak 3 in. I didn't tell you to make a list. I said pick
You
one.
didn't give me any instructions.
Everybody just pick a movie is what I said. Okay, whatever.